Welcome. You may already be familiar with the naming ceremony or the Nāma Karaṇa sanskar. You might also be knowing that the Sanskrit alphabets or the letters are selected for the purpose of the baby naming based on the baby's birth horoscope. But you may not be aware of the essence of the bhasha tatwa or the shabd vigyan. Now, this is the bhasha tatwa and the shabd vigyan is an indispensable part of the Vedanta. But through the whole naming technique mentioned in the Jyotish, it finds its place in the astrology also. Most of the baby naming videos, they are, I would say, clueless about the metaphysical aspect of the Shabda Vigyan. They have no idea what kind of essence lies there. But as a Jyotish, I think you should be knowing better. So before moving to the astrology part of the baby naming, I will first share a few points on the Shabda Vigyan. This will help reveal the metaphysics. And to understand this point that I'm going to discuss, you don't have to be a Sanskrit scholar. Once you have an idea, that is more than sufficient. And then you can share the same with your well-informed clients when they come to you for the Jyotish-based naming guidance. Then you can share these points, and they will value and appreciate your insight. But do it only with your well-informed clients. This is a very popular form of the goddess emerging from the Shiva. She is depicted as wearing a garland of demon heads. These are the demon heads. So she is wearing a garland of the demon heads around her neck. This is a commonly held view. And she is also called as the Mundamalini. Malini means the garland, and the Mund is the demon heads. But in the Shabd Vigyan, these are not the demon heads. These are the 50 letters of the Sanskrit Varnamala. You'll be surprised that in the Shabd Vigyan, the goddess is actually wearing the garland of the 50 letters of the Sanskrit Varnamala. These are all the letters of the Sanskrit Varnamala. In fact, there is a specific name for the goddess, and she is called as Panchaj Mundamalini. Panchaj means 50. Yeah, Panchaj Mundamalini. So Panchaj means 50. 50 alphabets of the Sanskrit Varnamala. Mund means, here the Mund means the letters. Malini means the garland. So she is called as the Panchaj Mundamalini, or the one wearing the letters of the Sanskrit knowledge, Sanskrit Varnamala. This is a highly regarded book by Sir John Woodroffe, or the author Avalon. This is a book that talks about the goddess from the Shabda Vigyan point of view. You see, the title of the book is The Garland of Letters. That's why she is called the Panchaj Mundamalni, one that is wearing the Varnamala of the Sanskrit letters. I will not go into some advanced Vedantic concept about the role of bhasha or the shabd over here, but this is one book that is very highly regarded. This is a little, I would say, a complex book, not easy to understand. And then, but once you have an idea about the Shabda Vigyan, then you see this is also, it says about studies in the Mantra Shastra. So Mantra Shastra is also based on the hidden aspect of the Shabda Vigyan or the letters. This is the Shiva Panchakshari Strotam, which is very popular. I'm sure you might have listened to this Strotam on YouTube. And the most popular mantra, the Om Namah Shivaya, is also mentioned in this particular Strotam. Now let me show you that how the language or the Shabda Vigyan or the Bhasha Tattva is used by Adi Shankar. You know, this Shiva Panchakshara Shot is attributed to Adi Shankar. So how the Bhasha Tattva is used to create this mantra. Let's look at each of these lines. Each of these lines, they end in directing towards a specific alphabet in the Varnamala. I'll show you. But let's first highlight each of these specific lines. Now let's look at this very first one. Here the Adi Shankar has used the word nakarai. Okay. So we'll just focus on this na. And if you look at the na is taken from this specific position in the Varnamala. Then the ma. Ma is taken from this, right? And then the sha. And then comes the va. And then comes the ya. So if you pick up all these and put side by side, okay, na, and then the ma, and then the you see how this mantra has been constructed using the Sanskrit Varnamala. Each of these alphabet in turn has some more hidden attributes like they resonate to a particular tatwa also, the element, the space or the water or the air. So this is how this celebrated mantra is derived. And the whole of the mantra shastra has this kind of a arrangement. They have this, I would say, some method of picking up certain alphabets and then creating a pattern of sound out of it, and then finally personifying it. So first the mantra is created, and then it is attributed to a person. So it's personified. So this is how this whole thing works. I will also urge you to take a very serious look at this statement from J. Krishnamurti. It says you cannot see without language. Normally, the statement should have been you cannot think without language. So this makes sense that you cannot think without language. But J. Krishnamurti says you cannot see without language. This is very important. Why he's saying you cannot see without language? This looks like a weird statement. But let's look at this tree. So when you are seeing this tree, what happens? What kind of words appear in your mind? Green, right? When you're looking at a tree, green, which is just a word. Then you have tall, right? That's also just a word. Then you have brown. That's also just a word. So when you are looking at a tree, you see how the language is actually coming in between your actual perception or seeing of the tree. You're not able to see the tree. You're actually just all the time surrounded by these words, this language. So this statement is very profound. You cannot see without language. And this applies not only to the tree, everything you see around yourself or the object that you see. You will never be able to find out what tree is, because every time you look at tree, you will be bombarded with these words: green, tall, brown, leaf, which are just words, nothing else. But this is when you start pondering on this thing, give it some time, 1 week, 2 week, month, 2 months, 6 months, whenever you get time, think on this particular statement. This will help you to deeply appreciate the role of the language or the bhasha tatwa or the shabd vigyan. This will be a good to your own personal journey as well. So I gave you these 2-3 examples to impress upon you that the shabd vigyan's found wisdom or knowledge that is given in the Vedas is very deep, and you should definitely devote some time in exploring it. And once you get a taste of it, once you tend to understand more of it, then I'm sure you will find these kind of videos, very laughable. So don't waste your time on these kind of shallow or misleading videos, which tend to undermine or diminish the essence of the Shabda Vigyan. Let's look at the process of selecting a baby name in astrology. It is simple, not difficult. You will find these two tables. One will have these rashis, and one will have the nakshatra. And then certain alphabets are mapped to a particular rashi or a particular nakshatra. So these two tables are popular. In the south, I guess the rashi is more popular, but I have seen many softwares uh, taking the help of the nakshatra based table. And then in the nakshatra base, you see each of these alphabets again are divided into the pad 1, pad 2, pad 3, and pad 4, which is the nakshatra charan actually. Personally, I make use of this. I don't make use of the nakshatra table. I will give you an example why I prefer the Rashi rather than the nakshatra table. But the nakshatra table has some advantage, not these days, but I guess in the olden days, in the ancient time, this might have had some advantage over the Rashi. For example, let's say somebody's name is Lokesh, okay, and that person says that his birth name was selected by some Pandit based on the nakshatra. Then you know that this Lokesh belongs to Bharani, which is ruled by Venus, and the Pad is the fourth Pad. So, with this kind of a knowledge, you immediately know that this person's moon is in Aries, and it should be around 25 degrees or something, because it is the nakshatra's fourth charan, and then you know that at least 15 years of Venus Mahadasha has also elapsed at the time of the birth. So this is quite helpful in mentally creating a chart. At least Chandra Kundali you can create, and then you can also kind of calculate what this person's current Mahadasha would be, and based on that of course some results can be predicted. So that's one benefit I think is there. But these days you don't need all these. You have computers and softwares. So in nanosecond they can just calculate everything for you. And one of the major drawback that I found with the nakshatra table is about the mapping of certain Sanskrit letters with certain nakshatra, based on which you can't possibly come up with a baby name. So I'll show you an example. If someone is born in the Uttar Bhadrapada in the Meen Rashi, and then the alphabets or the letters that are allocated. See, in the Meen Rashi, you have the three nakshatras. Purva Bhadrapada, ruled by Jupiter, and then the Uttar Bhadrapada, Saturn, and then the Revati by Mercury. But let's say somebody is born into a specific nakshatra, that degree. So in that case, these alphabets are available. Now these alphabets are, I don't think anybody can possibly come up with any meaningful name. So these are not usually commonly used alphabet, and some of them of course are ruled out. You can't create any name, any meaningful name using these alphabets. So this is one major drawback. And in some of the texts that I read, that when there is this kind of a conflict, means that when the alphabets are not meaningful to create a name, then there are various ifs and buts, and then this is school and that is school of thought. So at one point of time, it becomes quite complicated and contradictory also. Whereas if you just take the Rashi, the mean Rashi, then at least you can find some alphabets which can be used to create a meaningful name. So that's why I personally prefer the Rashi based table more than the Nakshatra based table. The rule itself is very simple. From the birth Rashi of the person, you have to discard the Rashi or the alphabet that represents the 6th, 8th or the 12th Rashi. And 159 is good. So let's take this example. The person is born in the Meen Rashi. So these are the bad houses or the bad Rashi. That would be the right word, bad Rashi. 6, 8 and 12. So 6th is Leo. That means you can't possibly, or it is recommended that you should not be using these alphabets. And the 8th is the Libra. So these alphabets. And then so these alphabets are not recommended because of being 6, 8 and 12. And 159 is good. So the Pisces and then the fifth is the Cancer, and the ninth is the Scorpio. So these can be used. But recently I saw at least one or two horoscopes, and in one horoscope, let me give you an example that will give you more idea. I noticed that the person's name was the Rashi was mean, but the person and the ascendant was Cancer. So Rashi was mean, ascendant was Cancer, and the person's name started with one letter from the Mithun, and somehow seems like that person was not in harmony with her name. And you see the from the mean lagna, the Mithun or the Gemini is, I would not say are positive, and but it's not 6, 8, 12 also. But from the ascendant, it is. If you look from the ascendant, then the Mithun becomes the 12th. So that led me to some thinking. And now these days, I try to look from both the Rashi chart and from the ascendant, from the both. And then I come to some conclusion. I don't give much importance to the 6, but 8 and 12 is definitely that you should be avoiding. Sometime when you are looking from the Rashi as well as from the Lagna, then you have to settle with some neutral kind of houses. A neutral might be the 10th house, or the 11th is also good. So I keep the Professor Krishnamurti's perspective that 10th and 11th and even the second is also good. So these are some of the houses that can be taken as the positive house. But of course, 159 is deemed to be very good. So that should always be given the most preference. So the rules, like I mentioned, are simple, not difficult at all. Now there are a lot of confusion and questions around the the selection of the name itself. So let me share my own thoughts. First thing and the most important thing that you must understand is this point. The name must harmonize with your birth Rashi. This alone is essential. Okay. You will find these popular videos where some name compatibility is being done, some name numerology compatibility is done. Name is used to do some matchmaking with your home or friend. These are all nonsense things. The name must just harmonize with your birth Rashi. This is very important. It has nothing to do with compatibility with your friend, spouse, business, even the dog, okay, or even the name of your house. You see, you have to look at the name, your own name, as like wearing some clothes. So those clothes, whether those clothes are comfortable to you or not, that is very important. This alone is the real essence. So keep this in mind, and then let me share some more I would say common confusions. In some of the videos, they have been recommending of using the god's name or the rishi's name, okay, and as if it was mandatory. No, it is not mandatory. And I was able to find the some Vedic rishi name, and it's not that somebody would like to have so make this as a rule, a mandatory rule to use the rishi name. And so many names a person would also like to avoid. So depending on desh, kal, whatever, you might want to select a name. Take another example, the kaka. Okay. Now this word, the kaka word, which is very common in Gujarat, and which usually means uncle. But in the Italian and the Spanish language, this word is not it doesn't convey that meaning. It's a very crude kind of a word in the Spanish or the Italian language. Okay. Similarly, take another word. Okay. Now, this is the name of the goddess, very popular in the in within India. Okay, very beautiful Sanskrit name, and it has a meaning also. But in the Spanish language, this word, especially when this word is uh, written like this, then it is a very unintended kind of a word. This is not the word. This becomes a slang in the Spanish language. It's not used. Okay, so some words here in India might not be suitable in some other country. Similarly, some words in other country might not be suitable in India. So creating some kind of a holistic rule, and as if this is some divine mandatory rule, I will not go for that, and I will not endorse that. Like I mentioned, depending on your desh, kal, and vatavaran, select a name that looks uh, okay to you, and that's the only criteria. Now, I've seen many videos where the spelling of the name is distorted, as if it is going to bring some kind of a fortune. So let's say somebody's name is Rajiv, so it might be spelled as similar sounding, but it might be having these additional letters. I think that's totally nonsense and very stupid. If somebody is going through a bad phase, it is because of the Mahadasha in the horoscope. It has nothing to do with changing the spelling of the name. Things are not as simple as it seems. Changing the name of the spelling is a very stupid kind of exercise, and it's not going to help you. You might see one or two examples, and then you think, oh, this is a this has helped some person, but these are very rare examples, and they should not be used as some kind of a rule. Now, some idiots, they also try to recommend the stock based on a person's name. So let's say a person's name is Rajiv. So companies whose names start with the same phonetics, then it is assumed that the stocks of that person are the stock of that company are going to be beneficial. This is not true. Rajiv might have the stocks of the Ralph Lauren and as well as Ramakrishna Forging. In this particular case, Rajiv might book a profit. In this particular case, Rajiv might book a loss. So, similar sounding company's name is no guarantee about the profit or loss in the stock. That should not be names should not be used for this kind of a compatibility. Similarly, Rajiv might have two businesses, Rajiv Electronics and Rajiv Holdings. So, in this business, Rajiv might be incurring some losses, while in this business, Rajiv might be booking some profit. Though the business name is starts with Rajiv. Similarly, let's say Rajiv has a dog. His name is let's say his name is Radar. So that also starts with RA. This is not a guarantee that this dog is going to be always friendly towards Rajiv. This dog might even bite Rajiv and he could be hospitalized. I'm giving you these examples just to impress upon you that your name has to be compatible with you only based on your moon sign and the ascendant. It has nothing to do with the compatibility of the people or things and object on the other side. You might have Rajiv might have a friend, two friends with the name, let's say Rohan A and Rohan B. Now, one friend might become an enemy over a period of time, and the second friend, who was not as friendly, might become very friendly. So all these examples are there just for you to see, observe, and be convinced that your name should not be used for the compatibility purpose. But make sure that the baby name avoid the 8 and 12. This is my observation, and I totally agree that 8 and 12 Rashi letters should not be used for the baby naming purpose. Now we have added the Rashi based and the nakshatra based the the alphabets for as a ready reference. So for that, what you have to do is click on this particular option, and from this list select this particular option, baby naming Rashi and nakshatra helper tables. So this is a ready reckoner kind of a table for your reference. So when you click on it, then it gives you both the Rashi and the nakshatra. Both tables are there that you can make use of. And this you can copy. This is not an image. This is easily copyable table. So you can copy to the Word or a PDF wherever you want to and make use of it. So that's all in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for watching.